Hi there, my name's Sarah, and I am a professional tarot card reader, amongst many other things. Tarot is something that came into my life quite a few years ago. I had received a reading from a friend of mine, and it was absolutely transformational. It was something that really just encapsulated everything that I was feeling at that time in my life. I was at a really, really big turning point in my life. I really feel that almost my entire identity was shifting. And it was overwhelming, it was confusing, and I really just needed a way to be able to kind of make sense of it all. And that is what tarot does. Tarot does not tell you the future. I wish it would. I really wish it would. It can definitely pick up on energy, right? And energy of situations or people can definitely give us some indications of what may happen. But it's not this peering into a crystal ball and, telling you how many kids you're going to have and, what numbers to put into the lottery. Again, I wish it worked that way. I've tried to get it to work that way and it doesn't. You'll be sadly disappointed. However, what tarot is really, really good at is helping you bring clarity to situations and to really be able to, again, conceptualize and understand what you're currently experiencing. So I always say that tarot is never going to tell you anything that you don't already know. You already know whatever information is going to be laid in front of you at some level in your life. It might just be that you don't want to quite admit it. It might be that you're having a hard time making sense of it all and being able to express it or understand it, or it might just feel really blurry, right? A lot of times when we're in a confusing time or a difficult time or a conflicting time, it's hard to be able to fully understand every moving piece of what's going on. And so that's what tarot allows us to do. It gives us information, and I really think it helps us access information again that we already have by using symbols, imagery, numbers, art. It helps us tap in to our inner knowing. Again, we live in such a crazy, chaotic, overstimulating world. I think at this point, more than ever, we're just completely distracted and confused, right? It's very easy to be confused right now because there's just so much distraction and so much going on around us. And so tarot, it gives us things to look at, to understand, to then be able to tap in to our own recollection of things, to our own understanding of things. You're going to see symbolism on the cards that is going to draw information out of you. So that, on the most basic level, is how tarot works. I believe that anyone can read tarot. I will say that not everyone is going to want to read tarot, right? So there's always going to be people that just don't believe in tarot, and that's fine. I will say, if you are a skeptic of tarot or if you don't believe in tarot or whatever, I would just tell you that tarot does not have magical powers. Well, I mean, I think it does, right? But if you want to look at it from a more logical standpoint, all tarot is a bunch of cards with a bunch of symbolism and art and numbers and colors and all of these things that trigger information in our mind. And again, they help us draw conclusions. Now, typically when someone is reading tarot, so when a tarot reader is giving a message to somebody, this is where people will become skeptical or say, I don't know if I believe in tarot. When a reader is delivering a message, they are interpreting the cards and sharing the cards with the person that is being read to, or the querent, as some people refer to it. I believe where, again, tarot can be understood as quite logical is that even if a reader is interpreting cards in a certain way, oftentimes the person that is receiving the reading is going to understand it in a totally different way. And however they interpret the reading is their message. That is the information that they need to uncover. That is the clarity that they needed. So often I will be reading cards to people and they reflect back to me what they're hearing or what stands out to them. And it is almost nothing like what I said. I'm fine with that. It's not about me being right. I am simply looking at the symbolism, looking at the imagery, sharing the messages that I am seeing, right? And sharing the information that I'm seeing. And then however the person interprets that, that is their message. This is no different than listening to a song and finding meaning or healing or comfort from it, or reading a book or reading a poem or looking at art or buying jewelry or anything, right? Or having a meal even. Everyone can have so many different interpretations of art or a performance or a song or food. And it's no different with tarot. Tarot is, I think, just another form of interpretation, of creativity, and of art. That's why we have so many different tarot decks, right? And you're going to see that there are millions of different types of tarot decks out there, and it's everyone's different interpretation of this, system that we've had for hundreds of years at this point. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is just give a few simple basic tips on how to start to read tarot. There are a ton of different courses and resources out there about reading tarot, right? A lot of people do offer like paid courses or mentorship. There's books out there. There's all kinds of things, right? I decided to make this series of videos just to make it accessible as another resource to you, because tarot is just such a massively huge part of my life. It has helped me so much. And I want to share it, right? So this is obviously a free resource that you can use. I'm just saying that because, some courses and books will go into, great detail. This is more of an overview, but I think that it can at least get you started on your journey, if not really get you to a good place with reading the cards. I'm just going to go through a few different things to think about as you get into tarot, and then I will be starting a series on my channel with an interpretation of every single card, all 78 cards in the tarot deck. And I'm going to be giving, a variety of interpretations, imagery, showing you different examples of the cards. So that would be a good next thing to go watch after this. Okay. So my first tip with reading tarot is you really have to get yourself to a place of a neutral energy. And we're human, right? So this is like, I don't want you to get yourself stressed out about this. Like, I have to be perfectly zen and, I can't have any outside influences or whatever, right? Like, that's just, there's times where that's not possible. And, that might be the case with like friends and family. It's funny because I do have a lot of close friends that will ask me to read on certain situations for them. And particularly if they are situations where I have my own personal opinion and this is a really good friend of mine, I will sometimes tell them, I'm sorry, I cannot read for you because I just don't trust that my bias is not going to leak in. And again, I have read for my friends, but I'm just always keenly aware, right, of where my bias might come in. And that's just something that you have to be aware of, right? Again, we're human. That's going to be part of it. And there's certain things that you can do to work away from that. But sometimes, again, like you just have to know that, yeah, I might be giving the answer that I want you to hear. Or especially if it's someone that's close to you, or even when you're reading for yourself, you can be in maybe such an emotionally heightened state to where you really can't get yourself centered and calm and focused. You're maybe so distracted or so overwhelmed or so scattered that you really can't get a clear message through. you'll notice as you start to read cards, you'll notice when you're in that place where like you need to ground yourself, you need to refocus, you need to step away, you need to meditate, because you'll have the cards in front of you and you'll be like, I have no idea what this means. I have no idea what this is trying to say. This still happens to me, right? As someone that's read for years, like I will sometimes lay down cards. And this is, again, if I'm feeling really worked up about a situation or really, kind of in distress about a situation. If I lay out cards, oftentimes I'll just be like, I don't even know what this means, right? Because I'm just not in a good place to do a reading. Oftentimes, right, if I'm in such a heightened space about a situation and it's really like an intense situation for me, I will pay someone else to read cards for me, right? So that's why I still read cards for people. Even though I'm teaching people how to read tarot, I think it's still valuable to have someone else that is more of a neutral ground read for you. So that's my first thing. How can you get yourself into a better state to read tarot? Well, there's a lot of different ways. Meditation, I think, is kind of an obvious one, right? I've been working with my therapist and learning some different ways, some different like simple practices to regulate my nervous system. And so you could Google that. You could talk to your therapist about that. Just some really simple nervous system regulation practices. They're very similar to meditations, right? And they just help me get more in tune with what is true and what is true in this moment, right? And just feeling a little bit more clear about how I'm thinking about things and how I'm feeling about things, and feeling more grounded. So however you can get yourself to a grounded place, whether that's meditation, some people like to dance, like listen to music, sing, maybe do yoga, work out, do a little, workout session, maybe do a few jumping jacks. Maybe you need to step outside for a second, just have your feet on the ground, look up to the sky. You have to figure that out for yourself. Some people even have a little ritual, maybe grabbing a crystal, whatever it is. It's not, there's no perfect way to do this. It's more about figuring out, how do I get to this place where I am, as much as I can, putting my emotions to the side. And I like to ask in divine guidance. So guidance from whatever you believe, right, is your source of intuition. I think if you're watching this video, you probably already have a relationship with your intuition. So asking whatever that is, I am looking for messages that are coming from this place of intuition, and not fear and not anxiety, right? But my calm, grounded knowing and connection with this source. I also oftentimes like to call in my ancestors, and ancestors that I both know by name and that I don't know by name. People that have, I've maybe even lived life with, right, and have passed on. I ask for their guidance. If I am with a client, I will sometimes ask them, can I call in your ancestors, your guidance? These are things that I think, again, if you're into reading tarot, you're aware of these things. These are not crazy concepts for you. And maybe they are, right? Maybe you're completely new to this, but I think that just doing a little research about how can I get grounded, how can I get clear before I start reading cards. My next piece of advice is starting with spreads. So trying to find a tarot spread that will help you understand the cards more, because basically what a spread does is there's a place for each card, right? So each place in the spread represents a different theme or idea. A lot of times when you buy a deck of cards, like a tarot card deck, they will have example spreads in there. So like right in this book at the beginning here, there are different spreads, okay? I always say start simple. So don't be trying to do, like a 14 card spread. Start really simple. I might make a video on a couple just easy spreads that you can start with. But spreads, what they're going to do is allow you to not get overwhelmed and allow you to kind of know what the specific cards are relating to or talking about. Another thing that I would keep in mind is that, again, I'm going to be making videos for all the different interpretations of cards. The way that you're going to learn the cards is by studying them. The first thing that you should always trust is what is the card bringing up for you. So if you just want to kind of start playing with cards, again, I would recommend that you use a spread, because again, it's going to keep it simpler. And again, do a simple spread. Maybe it's just, you just pull one card. So maybe you just have one question and you pull one card, right? Start simple. Maybe it's that you have a 3-card spread for one question, but start as simple as you can. And when you pull a card, instead of going to the guidebook immediately, look at the card. Look at the card, because so much of reading is about the colors, the symbols, the numbers, the imagery. So using all of that to gather an interpretation before you reach for the deck. Or sorry, before you reach for the guidebook that comes with the deck. As you do this, you will start to understand the cards. Now, I will say that there gets to be a point where you need to just, I think for the sake of really helping build your tarot practice, you need to learn some of the general meanings of the cards, because it helps you basically come up with your own interpretation of the card. Because that's what this comes down to, right? Is like, you're going to build a relationship with the card, and you're going to understand what the card means in your own consciousness. And how you do that is by learning different meanings of the cards. And I like to say, for every single card, think of a time in your life where you can relate to this card. When have you been in an 8 of Wands situation, right? And then that's how you can start to build meaning with the cards. And what is that doing? That's also building a connection with your inner compass, your intuition. And this is how this all comes together, right? Again, this is, tarot is very, 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 it's like art. It's like a work of art. It's very interpretive. And so there's no right or wrong here. I would really encourage you to kind of throw that out the window, right? There's no right or wrong as far as the tarot goes. So really, again, as you're reading, start simple, maybe just one card at a time. Not a bad idea to also journal on that card and keep that journal and be able to look back and be like, oh, I've pulled the 2 of Wands a couple times and this is what I'm noticing. And then also I've read a couple guidebooks and watched a couple of Sarah's videos about this card. And this is how I'm starting to understand this card. This is how it relates to my life. This is what my intuition is pointing out to me. And this is my relationship with the card. And then slowly, that's how you start to have, again, a deep and complex relationship with the entire deck and with every deck, or with every card in the deck. Okay, this is becoming a long video, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to encourage you to go check out my videos that are about all the different interpretations of the cards. And I'm going to be continuing to add to that. If you don't see all of the cards in there yet, don't worry, there's 78 cards, so there's going to be plenty for you to watch. Keep coming back, subscribe to the channel. I will be adding as I go. Thank you so much for watching this. Please comment below what was helpful for you and maybe what else you would like me to talk about, because I'm always willing to do that. All right, thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. I will talk to you soon.